Welcome to Shadow Empire Academy. Today you will learn 15 more advanced tips about logistics, which we didn't cover in our previous video about logistics, which I highly recommend. Tip number 1. Learn how to use your transport aircraft to create airbridge missions and send units or supply to a distant hex, which is far away from your main zone and don't have road connection to it. So you couldn't normally send here any supplies or units. This is another tool that you can use to enhance your logistical network possibilities. Also, you can use airbridge missions to help units that are in difficult situations out of supply, deep into snow and mountains. But normal airplanes cannot perform such missions. Only helicopters or copters can do airbridge to a custom terrain without the airbase. To do airbridge missions, first you need to design your models that can perform such missions. In the Model Design Council, you can discover and design helicopters, airplanes, copters to provide transport capacity to your logistical network. If you go to the Air Design tab, here you can check what's the operational range of such units, which is very important because it depends how far you can build airbase to be able to send there other units or supplies, or how far the helicopter or copter can operate in the terrain. Also, the cargo capacity defines how many logistical points we can transfer using one subunit of that type. In this case, 100 kilograms of cargo means 1 logistical points. So here, copter can transfer 5 logistical points, and this medium aircraft can transfer 50 logistical points to a different hex using one subunit. So in our case, if I have 3 subunits of this type, I can transfer 50 logistical points multiplied by the number of subunits, so 150 logistical points. Let's do our first airbridge mission. As I said, you have the airbridge order in map orders mode, and you need to select the proper unit. Then all airbases when you can perform the airbridge mission will be highlighted. Why only one is highlighted, not 3? Because this kind of unit has here Roman number 3. It means that we need minimum 3 levels of airbase to be able to operate. And this airbase has level 3, but this and this have level lower than 3. Also in the south, I have airbase level 3. So if I now scroll down, this airbase is also highlighted. So this is the place where I would like to perform the airbridge mission. To do this, I need to right click on this hex, and then the letter A with gray background appears, and such letters are a label for air mission to connect the hex with the unit. Because if I have more units, for example, I have another transport unit, which here has lower number, so this unit can operate on less advanced air bases. That's why I can see all of them highlighted, and I can perform another airbridge mission by right-clicking on this hex, and now we can see letter B. So the first airplane has letter A and is connected to this hex, and the second one has letter B visible on the unit counter and on the hex. So it's easy to understand which unit is performing the mission. The mission will be performed after I play next turn as a normal combat operation. So let's play next turn. And in the history mode, you can see that there is a battle here, but this is how the game is visualizing the airbridge mission. So our unit is performing a military action on this hex, and it's reported as a battle. We can jump to the next battle. So here we can see another transport unit performing another airbridge mission. Please notice that the label is dark, so it means that the action has been executed without any problems. If the letter will be on a red background, it means that we suffered some damage because our air mission can be intercepted by enemy fighters. The color blue would mean that we have less logistical points than expected at the start of this turn, and the orange color would mean that we have less logistical points and also we suffered some damage. One important information that the range of our airbridge mission depends on the action points and readiness of the unit. So if we created a fresh new unit, the range will be 0. After one turn, maybe it will be half of the range, and then, depending on the readiness and action points, it will extend to the maximum operational range of that unit. Okay, so if we have airbridge mission, so now let's check the logistical network, our initial logistical points. Here you can see we have 748 logistical points over the road, but here suddenly we have increase of logistical points. It's because we have additional 150 of logistical points delivered by air using the airbridge mission. And here you can see 54 logistical points going north, and here we have 204 because of 150 additional air logistical points, because logistical points have the type, track type, rail or air. So let's send some units to the south. To do this, we need to use this time a strategic move. Now the game will highlight in standard way roads where we can use strategic move, but also when you hover over the airbase, you can see a symbol of airplane, and we can perform strategic movement over air to this hex. To this we cannot, because there is no airbridge here. But on the south also you can see that we can perform strategic movement over air. It's important to notice that the weight of the unit is 60, visible here, and in the red bar on the bottom we can see that the weight is 60 from 86 available. So we'll use 60 airbridge points from 86 available. Let's perform the mission by right-clicking on this hex. And you can see our unit was transferred over air to this hex. Let's do another one. Let's say this unit. And now you can see that I cannot perform because there is not enough airbridge points. But I can do this here. Such airbridge mission provides also supplies, and the weight of supply in this case is standard, except of water and energy, where for airbridge missions it's equal to 1. So water and energy, we cannot use pipes over air, so they need to be packed into some containers and transported. But still, the units around should be able to get supplies from this airport. As we said, we cannot help this unit using the normal standard airplanes. So let's load different save and check how the copters can help here. I have loaded another save. As you can see, our brave infantry is going to the mountains. They don't have any supplies. They are hungry. The only solution for them is to ask for help. So our copters can establish air bridge. Then the game highlights all possible hexes where we can establish the air bridge. In case of normal airplanes, we could select only air bases, but in case of helicopters and copters, we can select any hex in the range of that unit. So let's do it here close to the unit that need the supply and play next turn. We are in next turn. The color changed to black, so all went well. If we switch to the initial points mode, you can see here, not very visible, but I go to traffic signs. Number 15 means that here we have 15 logistical points in this hex. And if we go to used points, you can see that this unit managed to get supplies from this hex. And now, if we go to the unit, they managed to get 15 food from the air bridge. So the 15 points was transferred from this hex. If we hide units using hotkey 1, you can see that the 15 points went here to the airbase, and then using copters that are providing the air bridge were transferred to the mountains, and from here they can pick up the same 15 points. So this is a very useful way of helping units in the rough terrain. But such supplies can be provided only from the hex where have road connection. So if I would move the copters here, I still am able to provide another airbridge mission to another point, but this airbridge mission will not provide any supplies, but for example, some units could be transferred from this hex to this hex. And there is one report that you can check in the bottom section of reports, airbridge overview. Here you can check all ongoing airbridge missions, the available amount of logistical points provided, and the damage, because enemy air forces can damage your airbridge. So this report can be useful if you have much more active airbridge missions. Tip number 2, you can share motorized or mechanized transportation across your brigades. So let's say I have here some light infantry battalions that don't have any trucks. They are normal foot infantry. And on the north, I have motorized light infantry brigade who have trucks, but they don't need them. So I can go to unit administration, I downgrade the brigade and select light infantry brigade. So now next turn, they will become normal light infantry brigade. Let's do it. Now, as you can see, they lost the tracks. All tracks were sent back to the SHQ. Here we have 490 tracks. And now the units on the south, I can upgrade them to the motorized light infantry brigade. Wait a turn. We are in next turn. Scroll down and you can see here we have motorized light infantry brigade. So the same units like before, but the change is that they received the tracks that were used before by those units. But those units don't need the tracks anymore because for I am in the end of the map, I don't need to have such speed of movement. And those units can now advance very fast on south, and they are using tracks that were used before by the units on the north. You can also use this method, for example, if you are close to the mountains and such units would need to go and fight in mountains, then the tracks could be damaged. You are saving the tracks. Also, they are not slowing you down in the mountains. Also, if you are low of oil, you can send back the tracks and, for example, then the tanks would be a better choice to use the fuel instead of the trucks. So we can say that smaller fleet of trucks can be reused across our army. Instead of having only motorized infantry brigades, we can have fluid brigades when they are motorized when they need. Tip number 3. You can use logistical points injection to skip the track station or relay station refocus. Normally, when the road goes through the track station or relay station, you experience something called refocus, so you lose amount of logistical points because the tracks are refueling and they received new action points, but a big amount of points is lost. And there is a technique called injection. So we build a track station not on the road, but 1 hex above the road, block the incoming logistical points and injecting the produced 800, in this case, logistical points to the road, blocking also this way. So all points are going down the road, same as from this track station. And to compare the situation, I did this example, and here we have junction where we can redirect the traffic. So let's try redirect full traffic to the south and then to north, and we compare the results. So I block all traffic to this station where we have injection, and now as we can see at the end we have 948 logistical points. And if I block everything here, so we have here injection 945. So no big difference. It's because the points that are going from our capital, here is a supply base, they reach this hex, but then they diminish because of the action points and distance. So even if we inject here 800, the previous points are diminishing. So at the end we have 145. And if we block everything here and not here, then the points going up to the track station, then there is a refocus, and the full 148 without any diminish are reaching end of this hex. So as we switch to the normal mode, we can see that the results are quite similar. But let's check another example where we have 3 track stations injecting logistical points into our network, and here 3 track stations on the same road. So let's do the same test. So we blocked all traffic to northwest, and at the end here we have 933 logistical points. And now we reverse the situation, block everything here, and we have 2854. So we have much more here in case of 3 track stations injecting points, because we are struggling with refocus in this case. So because of the third refocus, we lose a lot of most of the logistical points. So if we do the preview, you can see that only 60 points from our SHQ can reach here. So in this example, the winner is logistical points injection, but what we could do is simply to, instead of building 3 track stations on the same road, we could simply upgrade this one track station to level 2, and let's do it. So here we have a third example where on the top we have the same 3 injections, but here I have one asset that has a level 2. In this case, if I am blocking traffic to northwest, at the end I have 2,800 logistical points, and if we block the other way, 2,600. So in this case, the single track station level 2 provide us at the end more than those 3 stations level 1 with injection. So you know this new technique, you can use it if you like. For me, I would prefer to upgrade the track stations. We are limited only by the administration level, and each city level supports 2 asset levels. So the only downside of track station level 2 is that the construction take 2 turns instead of 1 turn. So maybe there are some corner cases where you need to quickly build additional logistical points and you could use the injection level 1, but in most cases using normal track stations with refocus and higher level should be enough, in my opinion. Tip number 4. Use asset delegation to solve temporary problems. Let's say you have a zone where there are big problems with workers or with hunger. So in this case, many assets have problems with proper functioning. My airbase has not enough workers and the production efficiency is 10%. I can try to solve the problems in my zone, but it will take time. And if I need this airbase to provide some supply, for example, to other units, then I have 2 options. I can repaint the borders of the zone and move to the other zone, or I can delegate this building. So here there's an option delegate, and I can select to which zone I will delegate this building. I am delegating to my main zone, and now you see this delegation symbol. Also color change to this dark blue, and here in my main zone I will also see in the delegated and tasked filter you can see purple asset. So now this airbase is in 2 zones, but this zone now will take care about providing the workers and maintenance. And here the asset is only formally. So let's check how we will look next turn. We are in next turn, and you can see that now the situation is much better. I received more workers and the production efficiency is 96%. So delegation can be a nice way when we conquer a new minor regime or major regime and you have temporary problems in the zone. Some assets that are out of the city center can be delegated. You cannot delegate inside the city center. Tip number 5. Don't waste logistical points on the road branching. If I hide my units and go to preview points, so you can see what will happen with logistical points next turn. You can see that here I have metal mine and here another metal mine. Both require 50 logistical points because the red symbol represents that this is a pull point marker for asset. So here we need 50 and here 50. But you can see that the game, if we go to traffic signs, will send here 213 and here 213. So much more than we need. So of course we can try to block like all traffic to north, but allow pull points. So this way, here you can see now only the required 50 points will be sent north, and we can do the same in this direction. So only block everything except pull points, and you can see 50 logistical points are going to both directions, and we do not lose more than needed. The same situation we have here. Instead of sending 240, we can block in south direction everything except pull points, and now we're sending only 100 here, so more can flow this way. Is this optimal? Not fully optimal, because we can still do more. The assets need the logistical points only to be operable. They then don't consume the logistical points. If you switch to the used points mode, you can see that none of the roads have any used points. So the asset need only 100 logistical points to be operable. Then they don't use those points. They only need to have access via the road connection to this amount of points, and the points do not stack. So what we can do with that knowledge? that the assets pull points do not stack and they do not consume the logistical. So let's do some changes in our road network. For example, here, if this road will go to this second asset and we disable that road, see what will happen. Go to the preview mode to better see the situation. So I right click, construct, demolish infrastructure, demolish this road, and here we will build road, but not to the city, but here. And now you can see that 50 logistical points goes here. This asset is working, and the same 50 logistical points is going here, and the asset is working. So the game don't need 100 logistical points on this line. The game needs only as much as the maximum number requested by any of those assets with the red bar. So on this area, we can do the same. But here it will be with a cost of 1 hex for our network. But sometimes it's worth to do it, because now I'm losing this 100 for nothing. So let's say I would demolish this part of the road. Here we have road to the south, and now we can rebuild the road from this to this one. Okay, let's refresh the view, and you can see that here we need 100, here 100, here 100 still is valid because nothing requires more down the road. Only here the units require more, but they have a green marker, so they are stacking. Let's also do here a blockade for all points except pull points, and we can see that now only 280 going this way and 50 this way, so we saved a lot of logistical points, and most of them now can flow here and this direction. Tip number 6. Understand pull points prioritization and assignments to better manage your network. I have loaded our game before the changes, and we are in the initial points mode. So why do we even need pull points in Shadow Empire? Without pull points, so all these gray numbers, the game would distribute logistical points equally for each direction when we have a road. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roads are going out from this hex. So we will divide the amount of logistical points equally for each direction, and this how it would work without pull points markers. But it will be not reasonable because in some directions we need less, in some directions we need more. So that's how the game try to predict where we need to send more logistical points and where less. So we need here 50, so the game reserve 50. Here we need 100, so it's easy. If we go to the traffic signs mode to the city center, you can see that for each 5 directions, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roads, the game prioritizing the points, and for north we prioritize 50 and northeast 100. It's easy because only one asset for each of those directions, so it's easy to assign 50 here, 100 here. But if we have more complex situation, it's a bit more complicated. So in direction south east, we can see that the game prioritized 180 logistical points. Why 180? So let's try to calculate it. The game tries to understand the requirements for each road, and if there is a crossroads, also for each branch separately. So in this case, we have 100 pull points, and the game checks if from the branch to the track station, we have something bigger than 100. We don't have. So for this part, the game will count only 100, not 200s, but only 100 because there is nothing bigger than 100 that we had initially. And for this branch, we treat this part separately. And for green markers, but so unit supplies, so those are pull points assigned by units, we sum all of those points. So not the biggest one matters, like in red pull points, but for green, we sum them. So 16 plus 6 plus 8, and here plus 50. So here we have 30, here 50, so it's 80, and here 100 for this part, so 180. So that's why the game understands that we will need to send into that direction 180 logistical points. And it's right. In the south direction, we are prioritizing 595. So let's check if this is true. We need to compute for each branch. So for this separately and for this separately and for this. But here there is a crossroads, so we will treat like this part as one branch and this as second. So start with the last one. We have here 50 and nothing more up to this hex. So 50 plus this hex, so 85, plus here the blue marker is zone pull points and some units, so 52. So we have 187 as a sum. Green pull points we need to add to our calculation because they are stacking. So plus 30 plus 6 plus 12, so we have 235. Then we are here, so we need to check this road. On this road we have only 300, nothing special here, so we need to add 300 to the sum what we have before, so 235 plus 300, so we have 535. And here we see 50, so we are adding 50. And here we see 10, adding 10, so we have 595, and here 12, so plus 12, 607. So why we have here 595 is the last number that we have before adding this 12. So do we need to add the 12 here? Let's switch to the use points, and you can see that this 12 is in reality a unit that is requesting points using their own operational logistics system directly from this zone. So that's why the game skipped this pull point marker, because we know that this unit can get the resources from directly from the city center. So we need to subtract this 12, and then we have 595. So our math is correct. And let's check last branch, so southwest. So we have 6 plus 8 plus 4 plus 300, so 318. Here we have 315, so 3 points difference. Hard to say why we have 3-point difference. We can see that here the unit also requested the 4 points from the directly from the zone center. So this can be skipped. Please also notice that the industry pull points are strictly correlated with the production requirements of this hex. So if I will decrease here the production speed to 50% and I will check the prediction for next turn, you will see that here I have 50 points. So, and if I increase to 100 and refresh, this is 100. 75% of production, refresh, you can see 75 points. So the game will take into account the production speed to the amount of logistical points that is needed for this asset to be functional. The traffic signs are working only on the crossroads. This is the only place where the traffic signs can block the points. Because, for example, if I will block any points here in this place, what will happen? Let's do it. I will block every point going into the southeast direction, and I do not allow any pull points. So what will happen? You can see the point still flowing into that direction, and the units were smart and they moved their own pull points after this blockade to receive logistical points and supplies, and then they can use their operational logistic to get the points from here. So you can see that because there is no crossroad here, traffic signs cannot really stop the flow of already distributed logistical points, but they can stop and block the pull points assignments. So the same here. If I will put a blockade to the south for everything, you can see the points are still flowing. Sometimes this is confusing for players. Why I disabled everything and still the points are flowing? Well, they are flowing because the prioritization is happening only on the crossroads, and the game cannot stop the points that already flow. But there is small difference here, because if I allow pull points, you can see this number change. So now I see that this is 912 points flowing into that direction, and here is 6 points, pull point marker by some units. And if I disallow also pull points, now units moved their own pull point marker here, but also this number decreased because in reality we cancelled also prioritization in the city. So let's restore the pull points, allow to pass the pull points, and here switch to the track station mode and check in the preview log that in the south direction 463 points were prioritized. And if I here disallow pull points and go back to the city, they know about this, and now only 95 points were prioritized in the south direction because they know that here I am blocking the pull points. So no sense from this track station to send in that direction any points, because track station is working this way that first the prioritization is sending track points where they are requested by the pull points that are accessible, so not blocked by any traffic lights, and then after sending track points to the south direction because they were requesting bulk pull points, the rest is distributed accordingly to the branching of the roads, and 800 is still sent to the south. But the 800 that is sent here then is here divided also according to the priorities, and then rest is sent equally to both directions. So at the end, this 461 is an effect only of the branching of rows here and rows in this hex, but all additional logistical points that would flow here because of the pull points are disabled and not sent from this track station to this direction. So if we would do the blockade not here but here on the left side, then we would completely block all points because the game has the possibility to avoid also the branching part. So now not only the pull points are cancelled, but also the game knows that we have a branch and we cannot send any logistical points this direction. So this is interesting to know how it works. Tip number 7. Use emergency food in case of hunger. In our zone, we have a problems with lack of food. As you can see, here is an icon which is representing that in our zone there's a hunger. If you click, you can see that there is a little hunger, 84 points. Above 100 there will be starvation, and maximum is 300. And workers are currently fine. So the same information you can find here in this middle button. There's information about hunger for the population in our zone, and for the workers currently hunger is none because the workers could consume food that was stored in the zone stock, but the other zone couldn't send us enough food because they are also starving. The best solution is to call your governor and give him zone orders and allow emergency food. So the second option will allow this zone to get food from our SHQ to distribute the food for hungry people. But as you know, the weight of food is 1 over our logistical network, and weight of all liquids like water, fuel, or even energy is 0. So there is only road connection required to transfer any amount of liquids and energy, but for food, we use capacity of our logistical network. But there is one exception to this rule. If you have emergency food allowed in the zone, then the people from that zone use their own transportation methods, and if there is connection with your SHQ, they can pick up required food on their own. So they are not using your logistical network. So in this case, the food in emergency mode is behaving like water or energy. So you don't use your logistical network because people are transferring it on their own. And to recognize if there is any issue with your food distribution, you can go to urgent issues, and below there is information that zone special issues, we have hungry people in both of our zones, and both of them have this icon. So if we gave the order to our governor to distribute the food, let's play next turn and see how it's working. We are in next turn, and now you can see if we go to the urgent issues report, we don't have information about people hungry in Alba zone. They are only unhappy, and there is a little of hunger in the Maxia. So if we go to treasury cash flow overview, you can see that for this zone where we allowed emergency food, we distributed 691 food. And if you check our logistical network, here you can see only 50 points was used by the units and nothing used our logistical network capacity to transfer the food. Sometimes the emergency food distribution is confusing because we might ask why we have so little food in our SHQ, and in the hint there is no information about emergency food. So best is to open this treasury cash flow report, check in the bottom sum of all food given in all zones where we allow emergency food, highlight this hint and do some math. So 1,540 we had in end of last round, and we subtract 16 sent to zones, and we subtract 136 sent to units, and subtract 23 consumed by colonies and recruits. So we have 1,365, and we subtract food spent for emergencies, so 691, and we end up with 674. So exactly the number that we have at the start of this turn. Tip number 8. Mechanized or motorized units have bigger stock for their ammunition and food. So in case of normal infantry, they can carry maximum 2 portions of the food per subunit. So 5 subunits can carry 10 food. In this case, 4 subunits can carry 8 food. But in this case, we have 18 food, and trucks also are counting the same way, so another 18 food. So we have 36 food provided as a stock for this unit for the supply. And as we know, trucks don't fight during the battle. So we have more ammunition and more food because of the existence of trucks or APCs, but trucks consume only 20% of normal consumption because of the manpower rebates. So in reality, the consumption is 9 plus 20% from 9, so 1.8, so rounded to 2, so 11. So they consume 11 per each round, which gives much more food for normal units. Of course, trucks are using and consuming fuel, but such unit can survive much longer and can fight much longer. So it's interesting to remember. Tip number 9. Internal production in your zone does not affect your internal logistical network. So if you have any production like food because of some assets like this one, this do not use logistical network on this road. It only need logistical network to be operable, and it's working like private economy, so does not affect your net road. So if we switch to used points, you can see that from this asset we didn't have to use any capacity of our logistical network, which exists, but we used nothing here. So any asset in our zone didn't use any resources from our network capacity. So the logistical points provided for each of them is enough to transport every resources back to the zone. Then the zone create this blue marker where we can send out to SHQ or receive something from SHQ, and all transportation goes between zone center over the main road up to the SHQ. Also here you can see that those assets does not utilize my network. I did also a small test. I disabled any track station in this zone. So I have here no track stations, and still the zone center, so the city, is the one that is requesting the pull points, the blue one, and sending resources to our SHQ and asking for resources from SHQ. So we don't need any track station here to send and receive resources to our zone. Tip number 10. Use custom pull points to help the game to better allocate resources according to your needs. The game cannot read in your mind. So if you remember our discussion about pull points, the game can allocate the pull point markers where the game thinks it's best to do it based on the information that the game have. But the game don't know what are you going to do. So to tell the game that you need some specific additional amount of logistical points, you can use the custom pull points. So by accessing it from traffic signs and clicking in the hex on the bottom, you can see custom pull points. But let's close it and discuss when we might need custom pull points, so additional logistical points in specific hex. Let's say I have here offensive against aliens, and I would like to support my army with some additional unit. I would like to rise formation and have some artillery. So in this hex, you can see that I can build only half of my artillery because I need 685 logistical points and I have only 370 in this hex. But if we go to the current points, you can see that I have 940. So what is going on? Well, the game understands that this is a fake logistical capacity because the real one is 370 that is going from our track station. This is the real number that the game take into account in this hex. So 370. So if I would like to create here two such artillery units, there will be not enough current logistical points because if we create new units, we are using these green points that are difference between initial points at start of the round and used points. So I can have not enough current points to do all what I am planning because the game don't know what I am planning. So to tell the game that I need here in next round more logistical points to create more units, I can click this hex and how many we need. We know 670 is for one full artillery, so I would need 1000 on top of the current needs that we may have here. We see green pull point marker that we are asking for additional 1000 logistical points here. And let's check if the game give us what we are asking for. We are in next turn and now we can see 1148 logistical points available, not 370 as before. And if we go to the track station, you can see that the game prioritized 1129 points. So the custom pull points affected the prioritization in the southwest direction. And now we have more points and we can build some additional artillery. So rise formation, and now our artillery, you can see that there is 100% of logistical points. So we have much more than needed. Rise formation, and we can do even another artillery rise formation, and we have not 100% but 88 is enough, and we need to have above 50 to be able to create a unit. So let's accept this. So we could create two artillery units this turn using the current logistical points. You can see that the points decreased heavily because we increased the usage. The usage is how much points we used this turn. Creating new units also increased the usage, so it decreased the current points. What is the other reason why we might need to use custom points? For example, to do the strategic move. If I would like to move those units on the west front using the strategic move, I have only 100 logistical points here that I can spend on strategic move. So this unit will use their weight, so 50, as we can see here on this bar, that 50 from 112. So I can move this unit here. Fine, this is militia, and we have 62 left because we are still increasing the usage. So this unit weight is 60. We'll use nearly all logistical points. And here we don't have enough. We have only two logistical points that are left. So I can move this unit only here. So I could last turn request here additional maybe 200 custom pull points to this hex to be able to send more units. So I can check the weight of all my units and add it like 36 plus 38 plus this is heavy unit 375 and 19. So you can see that it will be much more than 200. So I can change this to 500 now and check what will happen. So we are in next turn, and here we have our 500 marker, and you can see we have much more logistical points moved to this direction, and also 1000 markers still exist. So now the game need to try to stretch all existing available points to support all needs. In our case, the game have only 2400 logistical points that can use. We cannot use more than that for prioritization. Please notice that sum of all those points prioritized are exceeding the 2400 because this is what was requested and assigned by the pull point markers, and here the game adjusted this number to the reality, so we cannot spend more than what we have, so we need to delegate and prioritize less points in this case, but it is proportionally to what was requested. So the pool part is what was assigned in specific hex, and the prioritized is what the game can do using the currently available points. So let's move our units using the strategic move to the west, and another unit, and even our heavy unit of recon can be moved here. So as you can see, the number of available points is decreasing, and here we depleted nearly everything. This unit can be moved also to here, and even the artillery. So we moved all of our units from here to the west front, and now we can start to fight with the bugs. So as a summary, the black marker represents custom pull points, and custom pull points is to help to tell the game where you would need more logistical points, because you know where you need them. The game don't know, so it's to help the game to understand your needs. Tip number 11. You can modify the amount of replacements per formation type. So let's say in this direction I have serious situation and I need to support those units. They need to receive such replacements, and I don't want to send replacements in the other direction where I am doing well. So for example, to this unit, because this unit would request 1000 soldiers, I can go to the unit administration and I can decrease the amount of the replacement percentage from 100 to 25%. This is the lowest number. And when I update the whole brigade, so not only this one unit, but the whole brigade, so also this unit here, have 25%. So the whole brigade will receive only 25% of replacements. So this way I can prioritize sending the soldiers from SHQ to those units where I need them the most. Tip number 12. Your zone governor can block sending some specific inventory from the zone items to the SHQ to avoid stretching your logistical network when you have some specific military operations going on. So by this zone would like to send this 69 foot to the SHQ next turn, so the zone will create this blue pull point marker to send 69 foot to SHQ, and will use 69 logistical points from this road. And I need this road to provide supplies, ammunition to my units that are fighting. So I don't want to let the zone to send this food to SHQ. So I can call my governor, and there is order zone inventory. And I can prevent SHQ from picking up some resources like food, or I can block incoming items from the SHQ. So let's do it. Block only sending the food. And this way, I am now sure that nothing will disturb this logistical network over this road. Another use case for zone orders is when your units are fighting in other zone, and in this zone you have food and fuel that could be used to support those units, and the connection with your SHQ is overloaded or there are bottlenecks. Then it's better to keep the resources inside your zone stock. And as we discussed in the first video about logistics, you can call the governor and here allow the zone supply for the units. You can watch how to do this there. And then it's good to keep food and fuel inside the zone instead of sending it. So I would like to block also fuel in this case. And then my trucks will be able to get the fuel from the zone directly. Tip number 13. Use your technology to support your logistical network. There is some technology called geotechnics. This technology will reduce the road construction on hexes like mountains. As you know, digging through the mountains and building a road is very expensive, and this technology can make your life better in such situations. Another one from applied science this time is logistical optimization. This technology will increase the number of logistical points generated by your logistical assets. Very good technology. So thanks to it, your track station will produce more logistical points. Also, you can use your profiles. So profile features. For example, if you have enforcement and if you gain this efficiency goal, you are increasing the logistical bonus by 50%. And if you will be able to stick to the schedule, you have benefits like logistical bonus plus 100%. Here I have loaded my other game where I have enforcement profile and I have efficiency goals feature. You can check it also in report about features and bonus overview. You can see here all bonuses that you have from the profiles and from the government, and below you can see that I have logistical bonus plus 50%. So now if you see here below, the track station level 2 is producing 3,600 logistical points and it should produce 2,400. So I produce more logistical points, but the range stays the same. Still, this is very good improvement to my logistics. Going back to the road construction over mountains, if I would like to create a road from this location to this hex, it will cost me 400 industrial points. And let's check how it will look like if I would have geotech technology. In this game, I managed to research the geotechniques, and if we now try to build the road in the same place, but with that technology, it costs me only 258, so not 400. So it's much cheaper to build roads through mountains using geotech. Tip number 14. This game has some interesting UI options about logistics. For example, in order of battle, you can, of course, browse the structure of your formations, but also here are some buttons that will give you information related to logistics, like what is the level of hunger in your units. For example, here you can see that 75 points of hunger in those units, and here this unit is fine, but this unit, if we go to the readiness of the unit, you can see they are hungry. So this way I could quickly notice that something wrong is going on. Also, I can check what's the supply status. So this unit is out of supply. This unit is in the range of supply. Also, I can check readiness, morale, experience. So those two, the last, are quite interesting ones. The other option in UI is the statistics. If you go here we have some tabs, and the last one is about logistical statistics. So here you can see some statistics about your units. For example, how many logistical points were used to supply the units. In this case, for example, our recon battalion, if we click to go to this unit, you can see that the recon requested and received 164 logistical points in form of supplies. And if we can even filter by specific type of supply. In this case, the game is showing us what was requested and what was received. So, for example, our independent motorized infantry battalion, if we go there, didn't receive some fuel. And true, received 0 from 27 requested. So we have this information also here. So using this screen, you can have quick overview across many of your units if they are receiving what they requested. In this case, food. I can check, for example, here, 0 from 3. If I go to this unit, you can see that this unit had a problem with receiving food. So this is quite useful. Also ammo, everyone receive ammo. And on the bottom, there is also replacements stats. So here you can see what amount of soldiers of subunits was requested by any of your formations. In this case, if you have formation like brigade, this number represents the cumulative amount of subunits across any battalions in that brigade. 27 is sum of all individual requests by 5 units inside this brigade. So here we can see that 3rd Assault Infantry Battalion requested 6 subunits. And here we can see which subunits, so 500 infantry and 10 light armor. In case of militia, we have much more advanced table of organization and equipment, so they require much more types of units. But here you can quickly check what they need. So if I go to this unit, here I see that, okay, they are requesting 1,340 replacements, but I don't know which ones. So I need to go to uh, the unit administration, and here I can read the missing ones. But doing that for all of the units would be painful. So in the stats, I can quickly check who is needing which type of units and which type of supply. Tip number 15. disband private transport hub instead of nationalize. Nationalizing initial transport hub costs 500 credits, is a great way to extend and double your capacity and action points, but also is very costly. So instead of nationalizing, we may consider disbanding this asset. Then we move some credits to the private economy and happiness can drop, but in the same turn we can construct a public one that costs us 100 metal, in this case 130 industrial points. I am in turn 2, so I have these points. I can build it. Next turn, I will have fully working public track station and I will keep my money. So it's up to you if you prefer keeping money with a cost of resources, but it's good to know this strategy. If you would like to learn more about logistics, please watch my video where I explain basic knowledge about logistics in Shadow Empire, or if you already watched it, go to the Shadow Empire Academy playlist and choose something else. Thank you for watching.